Oh, we're playing each other. I feel like we're playing each other. We're at higher. We're dark side. Playing against big ones. Hey, what's going on? You look like a good trainer. You are light playing against playing against who? Oh. And if I have a shoe speed, you are light side playing against these. Where's the shoe shirt space? You're gonna get shoe stick to this guy. That's the box. That's not good. I like it. Is my start?
Can we get a confirmation that we are now muted in the room?
Did you give me some lead-in time here? Okay, what? I gave us like 2 minutes to get ready. Okay, good. That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Greg Zinn, can you hear me speaking right now?
Good, Greg. How are you?
I guess that's good news.
Okay. Well, then we will get this broadcast started. Welcome, everyone. To anyone who hasn't checked on the boards, this is a 25-player tournament. They are going to be playing 6 games. This first feature match is going to be Greg Zinn on the light side. Versus
10:31 right now, so you got a minute.
Chris Gogolin on dark side. Greg Zinn is going to be playing Watch Your Step, and Chris Gogolin is going to be playing Set Your Course for Alderaan with what surely looks like a monkey tie start, as he's starting combat response.
And Mark, I think we lost the video feed.
Yes, we did. I will text Shusky. Actually, you should text Shusky.
I can do that.
It's like, I think I have Gogolin to text, but I think they might have actually just disconnected it by moving around.
Did you change a setting on the video? Because I got a pop-up saying, oh, there we go, we're back now.
There we go.
Excellent.
There is a chance that I did that, but I surely didn't mean to.
I'm sure you did. So we have, you said, a monkey tie start for Set Your Course, and Greg Zinn playing Watch Your Step. It looks like he's going to be starting Waffling, Squadron Assignments, and MSB Labs.
That sure looks correct. Whereas Chris Gogolin, it looks like he's going to be starting Quad Drive Yards Combat Responses.
I don't want to play against this deck. If it is the same thing.
I don't know. Something I made up last week.
Okay.
Just looking over the deck list here, and the Watch Your Step from Greg seems to be pretty standard. Watch Your Step build with the farm. Getting that out early, try to get the pulls.
Good luck.
Plays a couple of the Luke Skywalker V for the pull, and then bringing them up to space. And it doesn't appear to be another Luke in there. Sometimes you might see an EPP Luke thrown in there just to kind of keep him honest on the ground.
That is interesting. One other thing I will comment on with this deck list that was a little surprising to me was there are three Escape Pod Virtuals in this deck.
Yeah, he can't hold a projection with it anymore.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Indeed, and the cost has gone up. So with only a couple of cards that he might pull with it, it seems a little bit more of a marginal Certainly.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting 3.
Yeah, I agree. And, with the cost of 1 now, it's not as easy to use as just a recyclable 6. I think maybe a few maneuvers, if he doesn't have one in already, might have been a better choice. Keeping in 1 or 2 escape pods is still okay. He's got a Hujic and a Grimtash, actually. So we'll see if the Grimtash comes into play. I know you're not a big fan of Grimtash, are you?
No, I'm not. I mean, I think it's a good card to include in the Monster Step deck. I always consider that an Aaron Nelson deck, because the first person I ever saw who I think it's a good card to include in there. I just like playing against that.
Do you have any insight on the Set Your Course? Because I have not played him in Ties, and what are you looking for here?
I'm not going to have the most inspired insight here. I will say this is a weird one. Actually, you know what? I have honestly no idea what he's doing with this. Like, he's got some funky stuff in here. Things in here like put all sections on alert. He's running now I can't think of the broken card. Yeah, the thing you think he'd be running Brangus. It's not that strong. The Brangus, but there is not more than 1 Doctor Day on this list. Really not sure what he's gonna try to do here. This is a creative deck. The Monkey Ties I've normally seen have been non-matching. That uses Sinar Fleet systems just for very fast retrieval, strange damage. But this is clearly not that list. This is something else. This is interesting to see.
Yeah, but we actually don't have a Sinar Fleet systems in, it seems, and he's playing, it looks like 3 Emperor Palpatines to try to keep his battleground. Also Sidious in there, 2 SFS cannons on the Receptor. And you see right now he actually went with Emperor Palpatine to the Cantina. I believe that was his first turn, came down with the Death Star War Room.
I didn't watch it. I'm sure you knew that to activate it.
No, I activated 7.
He also chose to not pull a...
So did I say 9?
He wouldn't have the battleground.
Even though Watch Your Steps this turn, Greg's activating 9 Force, without any PP loop, there's probably not much you can do for Palpatine this early, so that's small gamble, I think, by Chris, but it looks like it's probably going to work out for at least a couple turns.
Yep. I completely agree. I think that the money move here would be either a Cantina Brawl or several Destiny Overflow, perhaps.
If design made it today, they would definitely.
See what's going to happen, though.
Yeah, the Overflow with the several Destinies is going to take at least a couple turns to set up, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't see a Cantina Brawl.
And I will.
That makes that Emperor play very strong. I will say,
We're playing a farm, took a castle.
I don't think Watch Your Step is a very strong deck right now. I was talking with Jared Konsker, who's playing today, and we kept thinking that Watch Your Step is strong, except that it loses to every good dark side deck. It just doesn't have good matchups, it seems. So perhaps it's going to win out today and make me look foolish.
I think this build is a little bit more on the ground. It's more of an evasion type and try to reduce the damage. He does have, and it could be worse, and it's a hit in there as well. I see at least 2 dodges. So I think, Greg playing this Watch Your Step build probably expected to kind of just give into the ground, and you can see first turn he gets his projection out on the Cantina, so that's a pretty good draw for him right there to get that early.
Yep, and the Talon card first turn. I love Talon card. So strong. That'll flip his objective. With Lando going to the farm.
Now you're going to get, what did you say?
Pull a card from the Lando. But he hasn't done that yet.
And, it's also interesting, he's used, I believe, 7 Force on those 2 guys, so he should have 2 left. Is he just going to consolidate one site? I mean,
maybe he's got the dodge. Of course, playing against the set your course deck, he might take a risk.
Yeah, I think he probably does have the dodge. That seems to be the most logical. I don't know if I like a quick flip like that, though. I mean, he's going to be up against Battle Order on his next turn anyway. Best case scenario, he's going to 2. I think it might be a little bit too aggressive of a play.
I'm going to draw one here.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
I agree with you. I'm a little surprised you didn't use that. Must be allowed to speak for apart from used.
He forgot.
Either forgot or wanted to save it.
Well, that's his only Lando, so I don't see why he would save it.
Yeah.
The actions during my activation.
I mean, Greg Zinn would know this, and he wouldn't, but maybe he bends the Lando later and then pulls a card. That seems very sort of strong.
Yeah, I think we would need to ask Greg Zinn himself if that's a legal play. Just a reminder for the viewers, Greg Zinn's playing Watch Your Step for Light Side, and Chris Goglin's playing Set Your Course for Dark.
25 people. Yeah. Yes, Shusky says it, or necklaces. They're chatting it up over there. You can say hi to everyone in the chat room.
And Chris talking about our commentary. I wonder if that means he can hear us.
Yeah, what's 6 in hand?
I don't believe he can, but that would be unfortunate.
One of them's a barrier.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. No response?
So there comes EPP Vader. It looks like his only copy of EPP Vader, if I'm not mistaken.
Initiate
And,
that.
and there's the battle, and see if he has the dodge.
I'll swing.
Go ahead.
No, he doesn't. He's going to make the window hit already.
What was the first card you drew? I didn't see.
The balance combo.
Balance combo and.
Colonel Jendon.
Okay.
Yeah, see, it's really interesting on Greg's part, and why he felt the need to
Nature
do that.
Jix in hand and just wanted to play aggressive.
Could happen.
Lando's gonna miss Vader.
Oh,
And then an Emperor for Destiny.
Yeah, so that's why he plays 3 of those, instead of playing Sidious like in the old Set Your Course build.
That's how I cheat, by the way. I
Pretty big right
stuff
there.
like that
And
in
then,
my deck.
let's see what the overflow is going to be. Looks like about 9,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Alright, what did I draw? I just drew wedge.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, he's just going to start
Oh, wait,
playing.
wow.
This could be a pretty quick game.
That was wedge. Here's 1. Old Ben.
And, you know, we also didn't have a battle plan
Okay.
tool like Greg,
Bring
so
it
it looks
back.
like the Drain at the Cantina for 1 was free.
Okay, now I will lose that one.
Okay.
Love wedge. Castle.
And he just lost Castle 2 from his life force, it seems. That's a huge blow.
So that'd be 6
Yeah,
more.
alive. I think this is about as bad of a choice.
Do you need to go slower?
No, you're good.
Really not seeing the advantage to spreading out there.
Okay.
Now, like we said, I mean, the best case was it was a Drain of 2, 1 and 1, but he'd have to pay for those. And it looks like he is going to old Ben him, I think.
Not much I can do. I guess I'll just draw.
Well, he doesn't have a force save for that, so maybe not.
No, he had a force saved at one point. I think he's already used that force and then lost that force.
Okay, that's a good call. So we'll see if, you know, he's flipped still. This could have been his game plan, kind of bait him in, and I wonder if we might see a counter beat right here.
Counter beat
Drain you
of
for 1.
Chewie, Han, 3 Destiny.
Yeah. Then again, you have to think that Chris has his Gick.
You really do. I mean,
He put Emperor down first turn without worrying. There you go. There's Chewie, as you said.
yeah.
Just in case it comes into play, this is at the Lars Moisture Farm, so the Vader's Weapon Destiny draws reach +1 there.
And yes, Matt Thornton, who has asked in chat, this Chewie is enraged. The maintenance costs less.
One battle, so you have 4.
I want to show it. How many cards do you have in hand?
Jeez. 9?
Oh man, I feel like I'm so far.
You gotta activate one. White.
Yeah. I'm just gonna.
For Greg's sake, he's going to need a little bit more to come down, I think, if you want to do some real damage here.
Force field?
Yeah, I gotta force you that. Because I can't take
And
the
I wonder
chance.
if he searched his use pile. Did you notice if he searched his use pile with Chewie?
You know, I didn't see it, unfortunately. I'm gonna grab the
I
force
will
field
find
here.
it.
And Vader's going to hit Chewie. Or no, he hit Lando, sorry.
Interesting choice.
3 times.
You know, I don't like grabbing the force field here. Considering he's only playing blasters, I'm not really sure what that's going to do for you.
Got some extra
Yeah,
armor.
I'm with you.
Can't do anything. Okay.
Han's blaster and Lando's blaster can hit Vader, but normally not blind.
Look at that, and another 6 destiny.
Versus
16.
3,
You're 12.
that is just unfortunate.
Well, it's Mirax is a 3 and Han's a 1, so those are going to combine for 8. And that's probably not even enough to do some overflow. Now you got to wonder what's going on now. He better have a dodge at this point because Talon Card's left all alone, front side of the objective. I mean, I think Chris is almost out of characters on the ground, but all it takes is Sidious or maybe.
2 cards?
Yeah, Sidious is probably the only one left that can battle him. He has a Tatooine Maul in there, so he can't. Actually, he does have a second Vader with Saber in the build.
You know, if I was in his position, and granted I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised to see matching pilots come down to the ground with something like, well, we've already seen a Colonel Jended in his deck, which means it's not in his hand, but presumably folks like the Baron, PS612.
And there's another free drain, so Greg is still not pulling the battle plan.
I'm gonna look for a card with Death Star that's not there.
I'm going to go searching for another Death Star card. Gives everyone a nice view of the deck. Lets you see a system in there that presumably he might pull.
He's got Kifix and Naboo in the deck. It appears to be all as far as his system location.
Yep.
Okay.
And Maul's gonna come.
Yeah, that's a good choice right there. I assume he's going to be going to Tatooine system, and that's pretty big. You know, Greg is going to have his Luke Skywalker here, or perhaps one of his 2 Maylosses if he even
Does he
wants
get the
to.
Tatooine plus minus?
Base.
Yeah, it's fine. It was
I
minus
think
2
it
to
wouldn't be a
10.
bad idea for Chris to cloak
That's
here.
minus 5. So 3 and 3.
So satisfies whatever this thing says.
I'm not sure I'd close
Depends
there.
on more than one, unless I've got that.
It's, I mean, I
Oh, wait, you need
think I can see it either way.
You know, he just drew for Destiny his I Have You Now last turn, so it's a pretty safe bet he didn't have that. And
Yep.
might be the only thing that could save him from overflow in space if they come down with like Malos and someone else, or even Luke and 2 smugglers, which is a possibility as well. You know, Maul's only a 4 power in his ship, and I don't know if he wants to mess around. He wants to play a little bit conservative, I think, now that he's got.
Oh, but the Baron comes down with Saber 1.
Okay, so he's got some backup.
I mean, now that's 2 Destiny and a lot of, and that is.
Yep.
I gotta say, I really like this move from Googling, watching the Kessel go, and then not pulling the system, limiting the dual system on the table, and then locking that down.
Well, to pull a system, he'd actually have. Does he have quad? He does have quad out. You're right.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Was either of the systems in the reserve deck?
Naboo was for sure in the reserve deck.
Okay.
Okay.
So running the risk of drawing the 0 next turn, in the hopes of keeping the Watcher step kind of choked out a little bit and not giving him anywhere else to run.
I think the anywhere else to run is far more relevant. I mean, he is not activating that much.
Now he's activating 11, and I can't tell what he's playing right there, but he's searching his reserve deck.
Probably. I'll have to swing it.
And it looks like he revealed his cartoon red 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be okay. 6, 5.
He does have one X-Wing laser cannon in his deck, so this could be an interesting move right here. If he's going to the system, in fact, which is not a given. He could go to the site to try to get a pool with I must be allowed to speak.
If I was in his position, I would go to the site, not knowing what's in his hand. But he goes to space. Let's.
I'll activate Luke's light.
He wants to rumble here. And there is the X-Wing cannon.
Yep.
Okay, that's important. Okay.
Still good?
Still good.
Good to shoot.
I wonder who's going to shoot at here.
Order weapons. Make the time into attrition and power +2.
Okay. I will pay 1, 2, 3 to shoot at Baron.
In case people didn't hear, he is shooting at the Baron.
For all three.
Yeah, this could go really badly, but I feel like
I believe Baron's is 5 maneuvers, so he'll need a 3 to hit him here, is that correct?
got it.
Yep.
And he drew the barrier, so I believe he's got him.
Yes, he does, and the Baron is going lost.
Baron is hit and immediately lost.
So we're in a situation here where no matter what Greg draws, it's unlikely that Darkseid will lose Darth Maul. And that means that they could come down with some more counterbeats.
R2 and
So he's used order to deploy R2, 1 to battle, 3 to fire, 8.
Oh no!
He may have just enough to fire it again next turn.
9.
So, the battle, light side overpowered dark side by 2 force there, so presumably Chris Gugelin is going to lose 2 from life force. And he loses 1 from hand, 1 from
What was the first one?
there.
Fighter card. Love that card.
Fighters
That
can
comes out of your hand.
destroy fighters from his use pile. So he did crack Luke's immunity. So
Which
Luke's
is just
on the
unfortunate.
Yeah, but I wonder, I'm not sure how much force Greg has left. It might have been a blessing in disguise, because he could have come down and thrown a few ballists and he's on him, perhaps. Maybe overpowered him.
It's hard to tell from his, oh, he did not have enough force for that cannon again.
Just a second.
And that is, that's tough to say. I mean, I don't know if he would have dropped his immunity and forfeited him anyway.
I will not do anything. Go ahead.
Okay.
And don't forget, Talon's still sitting alone at the site, so he probably has the dodge.
7, 8, 9, 1
It's like 15,
11.
20 or so in reserve for Greg, according to the for CCG who's on site there. And they're going to out of commission, try to get something more.
Leaders at a battleground, so we can go to the battleground site.
Let's go with third card.
That one. Ooh, and the short-range fighters goes out of play.
I think you probably wanted to hit the Vader.
That seems logical. It's unfortunate for him that he missed that. I mean, actually, Vader, Baron, there's a couple of good cards in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he run a second Baron?
Control.
I don't believe so.
I only see one. You know, I wonder on the first turn for Greg, he could have just pulled the Kessel into his hand. Did he forget, or was it not in his reserve deck? I'm not sure.
I'm going to cloak them all.
But that could turn out to be a pretty big loss for him.
Yep.
Just lightning and inbounds.
So Greg cloaks Maul. He's going to consolidate a little bit right now. Oh, I like that tech. The half-turned Maul to indicate he's cloaked. Classy move. He's going to draw some force looking for the way to win hit. So of course, draining your opponent for 2 a turn, well, or 3 a turn, while they're doing no damage is a pretty effective way to win the game.
Your turn.
Yeah, I don't know what options Greg's going to have now to come back in this one. You know, as you mentioned, his ground is pretty weak. So, you know, getting 2 battlegrounds at the site is not very likely. You know, you need 2 battlegrounds probably at the site to even think about force draining. at the Death Star. But even if he does, it would probably be capped at 2.
It's a little weird.
It's just not a good situation to watch a step there.
Dash on the ship. Wasn't expecting that.
I'll put 3PO and I'll use them.
3PO is not a card you normally see very much of. Watch your step.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's an interesting one. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
No, you don't occupy.
I occupy, I don't control it.
No, you don't have ability there because of all. You're less than 4.
Oh. Oh, you're talking about
Finds out that he does not, in fact, occupy space.
So he's not flipped.
It's okay.
Correct. Jim.
Cyberspeed 7. So.
It occurs to me that we have not linked the YouTube stream.
Let's flip for real this time.
There you go. Now you're flipped.
EPP Han goes to the ground for the flip. Real flip this time. And I don't know how the... Oh, it barely makes it. How about that? R205, just like we talked about, is going to go from Tatooine to the Death Star. He's got 2 battleground sites right now on the ground in hopes of getting around Coward Shield to drain at 3. However, if Chris is able to come down with the character to battle the EPP Han and 3PO, I expect to see a dodge, which would put the 2 characters at the same battleground site, meaning the Coward would come back into effect. So I think this is probably a desperation play, but it won't yield any benefit, in my opinion.
Seems about right.
Trade for one of the kitties.
So for anyone who's joining us late to this game, a little bit of recap. First turn, Emperor went down to Cantina. Light side flipped. First turn, did not consolidate 2 characters that couldn't draw on their own from 1 location. There was a Lando at the farm and a Talon at the docking bay. Light side did not have any evasion. An EPP did a lot of overflow on that Lando, including the Kessel system, and since then, Darkside has just firmly had the advantage. And
there is Sidious to the docking bay, and I gotta be honest, I think a better move would have been putting Sidious at the farm. Not only would it be a drain 2, but well, we got a barrier, so he's gonna survive another turn at 2 battlegrounds. But I think if you're Chris, you want to go to the farm there anyway, because if you dodge, they'll get 1 battleground, putting down a card. I don't know. I mean, the dodge could come down and he could still go to the Cantina, but then again, he'd be trapped. So, you know, you were talking earlier about the overflow in the first turn, aggressive play by Greg, and I wonder if he kind of felt, from turn 1, felt a little bit of desperation in trying to be aggressive, and if that's the case, you know, if you talked about Watcher Step potentially not being very good in the current meta. If he was indeed desperate on his first turn order, you got to wonder why he felt comfortable playing this deck to begin with today. So there's Naboo system, and it looks like black 2, DA612. So basically full lockdown by Chris right now.
We'll see.
I will say, not wild about the move of putting out a second battleground system. I think he could have won the game by turning down 1 system.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's got a little bit of backup in space. You can see on Greg's side, R2 and Red 5 is stuck at a non-battleground, and Dash is there too, so he can't come down with the Outrider. The best he could probably do is Mirax and Pulsar Skate, or potentially Reg and Red Squadron 1. But either of those, I don't know how much they could really do to you. I'm okay with the move. I think he's trying to get the game over with a little bit faster. I think it's okay. He's in little danger, and he's probably got some backup in his hand as well. And we did just see a drain at the Death Star, I believe. I can't tell if it's cut out of the picture, but is there a resistance on table for Chris?
There is not. Darkseid is shield busted at the moment from the Grabber Shield, the Useless Gesture, Secret Plans, and I don't know what the other one is, but it's not resistance. Oh, of course, it's Battle Order.
Save the play phase on it?
Yeah, during each opponent's. Oh no, during the return.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
One that I suspect is going to be a recurring theme today, especially for Darkseid, is shield management.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see a lot of cold feet. Chris appears to have just one in, but it's going to be a very important card, I think, considering the counter it is now to a Jedi's Resilience, even Old Ben. I think, personally, if I were there, I'd probably be running 2 cold feet in whatever Darkseid deck I'm playing.
I agree. It's,
No. Oh, yeah.
And Greg's going to have to flip back to the front side of his objective by consolidating Talon card. I thought he might have another Smuggler or two to come down with Talon, try to do a little bit of damage to Sidious. Guess not, though.
The good news for him, though, is that Howard is not one of those shields out, so he will still be able to drain at the Death Star. The bad news is, he still will have to pay 3 for it.
And it's capped at 2. Or it's not capped at 2, sorry.
It is not capped at 2.
However, we do have Round 6 coming up this turn for Chris, which I don't know how much life force Greg has left, but it can't be more than about 15.
Drink for 2 and have them.
Greg's life force is barely off camera, so it's hard to tell.
I'll play with you.
Cut half round down. You got the R2.
So we're going to order Doom's played, so that's why the 3PO's out there. So it looks like instead of 6, it'll be 5 in drains. Or perhaps less. We'll round it down, is that right?
Yes, it will. So the docking bay is none, the cantina is none, the system is 1, the system is 1.
Okay, well, that explains our question on why to play 3PO with Mirax and Watch Your Step.
Yeah, but there's already the R2 from R2 and Red 5.
Is that how that works?
And my educated guess on what's happened this game is correct. He does have less than 15
I
for
wouldn't even
game.
realize.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's just going to prolong the game a little bit.
Look for that Star card.
And I'm pretty certain they're playing Strength of Schedule, and not Diff. So
They are, in fact, playing Strength of Schedule. Anyone who is watching this and wondering why there haven't been very many updates on StarWarsCCG.org, there is no one running this tournament today. Everyone who is there is playing. So it's going to be a little more challenging to post some updates of all of the rounds. I will say that in this match, in this round, you will. Well, you won't get to see, but a couple of the highlights is Jared Konsker on light side versus Greg Shaw on dark side, Vikram Bali on light side versus Brad Ayer on dark side.
And then I'll cold feet for a shield.
Okay. Coward, okay.
that adds one destiny of Jedi. And if you want to, you draw your destiny for you to depart from there. Alright. So ultimately get one. Really would rather 2 destiny or 1 destiny.
Goblin's pretty much had his way this game. He's gotten out all 4 of his Dark Jedi. He's got complete control of space. It's been a pretty solid game for him. He seemed to have had the guys he needed each turn. He needed them. He had the EPP Vader early to cause the major overflow. That was the big game changer. Only on just turn 2. There's Maul to the system when he needed him too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's been incredibly lucky though this game. He did spend 1 turn with just honor.
Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that, but it's been a pretty solid game for him. He's got the deck build, you know, just enough of the Dark Jedi, and it's working out, I think, exactly as he had planned when he built this.
Yep. I will say, I mean, it was very fortuitous for him that with very few Vaders, he had one very early against a Watcher Step that didn't have any evasion. That combination is perhaps not all that repeatable.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we assumed that he had a dodge in hand that first turn, but I think he may have just been playing the odds and hoping that he didn't have any of his EPPs that turn. And he lost out in that gamble, and it looks like we have is it a Chewie Protector?
Yes, it is.
Going to move Talon Card over there as well, and Han. So he remains on his front side of his objective. And I'm wondering if Greg was able, now that he baited the grabber without a commission, if he's able to track that We're Doomed, get it back with 3PO this turn. And that would be pretty big. You know, he could keep losing 3 a turn instead of now what would be 5.
Well, Greg, I mean, I assume that Greg is going to be doing that. And then it turns the damage race from a 5 to 4 into a 3 to 3.
If you're okay with leaving them there, so yeah, I can say if I deploy here to beat you up.
So we have Talon Card, EPP Han, and Chewie Protector at Docking Bay against Sidious.
Take my chances.
If Chris is able to find his second EPP Vader, should have a fair shot at hitting someone, despite the defense value +2.
Yep.
You're good.
I didn't see the We're Doomed.
This guy's only 4.
And 1 in the canteen.
Ooh.
Actually, you only have 1, 2,
Yeah, there it is.
that means you only get.
And I'm gonna guess that he's gonna move Sidious away because there's just not enough life force for Mr. Zen.
Yeah, I agree. There's not really any reason to sit there and try to battle him. You never know what kind of tricks they could have. Could have a life debt.
I don't really want to
not be on the deck first, but if you're Chris, you can't know that, and it's not worth taking the risk.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. 5 or 3.
Also, a Fallen Portal, but that wouldn't do anything against Sidious. Just too many tricks, I think, for him to risk it. Well, he does have the Vader, so he's going to go for the risk here. I would hope on Chris's part he does have his gift finally, just in case.
That should be true.
Yeah. All right. She's there.
I don't think I want to bet. Also, to any of our users who are interested, or to our viewers rather, Mr. Kevin Shannon, the great Kevin Shannon, has just put out a call for questions for a Shancast they're hoping to film today. So get your questions in right now.
Oh, shoot.
The Shancast podcasts are deeply entertaining, so put something good together.
You've got 12 to my
This game started about 40 minutes ago, so they still have plenty of time left. I don't think a timed win here is going to happen.
Alright, I got myself into
The event was about a half an hour late starting.
I will initiate a battle.
We'll see a battle
Okay.
here to document.
Just or react.
After Chris memorably says, I talked to myself on
When that Talon card.
And
Subtract 3.
Yes.
I believe that was dodge.
Yep,
Zero.
to prevent this from
Two.
hitting.
That misses.
Surprised he didn't have his fallen portal.
Okay.
Draw.
May have lost it
He
earlier.
doesn't do anything.
You can't see his game text, but neither of those guys. So, you get 2 Destiny, I get 1.
I wonder if Justin Stratton is trying to make a comment here by muting my microphone.
The dodge is pretty pointless, wasn't it? He's defense value 5, right?
Yeah, without the dodge, I'd have hit him.
Huh?
Without the dodge, I'd have hit him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah, the dodge was absolutely.
Yeah, the dodge kept your guy on the table.
Yeah.
So I've got 16, and I think you're about the same 18, yeah. So,
So this is a Chewy Protector, not enraged, so
Basically, guy my choice.
you pick a
Chris
guy.
is going to lose his EPP Vader.
Okay.
Anything in battle, any era of battle, that's why I say 1/4.
City survives and is going to run away. Smart move there. So all in all, the battle of putting Vader down, all it did was clear Talon card. So not much of a difference in board state.
It was very low risk. Well, I actually think it was moderate risk, very low reward. Not the strongest move from goes.
Yeah, I mean, if he has the Fallen Portal, he just draws a 5 on Vader. He's got plenty of 6s in the deck, as we talked about earlier, with the 3 escape pods.
3PO.
Could have just put Vader in the lost pile and cause a little bit of damage to Sidious if he didn't have his Gick. I assume he had his Gick, but right, there was just a little bit too much risk there to really be worth it.
Yeah, and of course,
No, that's at the bottom. I just drew it.
Con and Chewy, Life Debt is a thing. I mean, Life Debt's not the most common card in Watcher Step, but man, you don't
I'm
want to
at the point where
see your destiny.
kind of have a play. I can't.
I personally never played a Watcher Step without like that, so.
There we go.
I think we'll call it. Unless, I think we'll just call it.
Okay.
The game
Sounds like you're going to call it, yep.
We'll get the high one.
Mr. Zinn concedes to Chris Googlen.
Very solid game by Goblin, despite that last somewhat risky battle. He had board control from the start. Really solid game for him. And Greg's not off the start. I'm sure he wanted, but you know,
That
it's,
really sticks out to me is I didn't.
we talked about the questionable play first turn by spreading out with Lando and
Especially since I was card star all game long, that's definitely.
It was Lando and Talon, yes.
Yeah, you actually never use that.
yeah, I don't know what that benefited him. He probably would have been better off hanging on to them, perhaps drawing 2 against Emperor a little bit later.
This is the
You know, if anything, first turn go to space with, say, Luke or even Dash. You know, I think that's kind of what did him in, that early play, spreading out for a very marginal benefit. And it cost
Top
him
of the
a
tape
bit.
is a guideline.
Yep.
So there, and then you want to try and keep it up.
Did you notice anything else?
He didn't really get a good look, I don't think, at the Scepter Course and what it's capable of. He
So I never did that all game.
has 2 Battleground systems in Kivix and Naboo.
Yeah, it wasn't really play.
We didn't see the SFS cannon, we didn't see very much of his space at all, just enough to clear Watcher Step.
Risky going down early with
And,
both guys. But you have
Greg,
to-
you know, as we said, he focused more on the ground instead
I
of
was- I
throwing
thought I was
space
gonna
early,
do
so we didn't really even see Watcher Step's biggest
That's
strength
okay,
either.
because I didn't realize that I
This was,
the whole time, which would have stopped the
bit of
old
a strange game.
lost file now.
But when you get overflow on turn 2, for 9 fours.
I was like, I forgot I did that now. Real like 3 turns in. He plays all done for the boss pile, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we've got about 15 to 20 minutes left until the end of this round, so
I mean, I got
it could be a little while until we have another game
on the
broadcast.
Palpatine first turn.
Yeah. Maybe shooting malls in the back.
We will try to get folks at the site to
I figured you were just going to come right back with the cannon.
allow us to get some updates on
That's true, you don't know.
updates on
See that you're okay with it.
Oh, yeah.
how other games this round are going. But we will see.
15 minutes left in round according to
So,
Star Wars CTG
down early, so.
in the chat.
Yeah, no, other than the game just got away from you early, but you didn't really do anything to.
Probably should have just gone out first turn. I should have like waited an extra turn just before putting the guys out.
Maybe draw
That's one of the biggest things I have an issue with, because I always feel like I need to get
Flip right away.
force stuff out. Yeah, whether it's flipping or whatever.
Yeah, maybe draw a few, set up your hand a little bit.
It sounds like Greg's admitting he probably should have waited an extra turn early on. He said he likes to get flipped early and try to get set up, and I think it was just a little over-aggressive. He knows that now, too.
At the Senate, can you resilience him? Does he have a lightsaber if he doesn't have game tech?
You're checking him once he's in the lost pile, so he does have to save.
So I guess we're okay.
Hey, he's cracking just enough.
You got off to a.
Maybe I'm going to take a short break and be back in about 10 or 15 minutes. Hopefully get ready for the next round then.
Getting set up, but we started at like 10:30 as opposed to 10.
And it's 6 games instead of 8, so that'll help.
So that'll even mix back out. We took about 10 people would show 1 at 6, and like 5 people wanted 8, and everybody else just didn't care.
8 games.
It is a lot. And then cutting to 4 and then playing more games.
PPC style. That's how we
Yeah.
did the old days.
Okay.
And those games, that playoff at the end of those hour-and-a-half games, is the MPC format, hour 15. So it's it gets really crazy.
So my wife
That's it. Well, you can't the microphone before you start.
Oh, yeah, we were tracking around or not. Yeah.
Just straight schedule.
You'll take someone's spot.
We basically
do some comment.
so she wanted to take one play and a half. And
It's the same.
she's looking at me.
So my wife went to Acme. These were on sale apparently. So she's like, bring them for your tournament. So set them up over there. Well, she felt nice because, you know, everybody sent us the cookie basket after San Diego. So she wanted to send snacks to the tournament. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's 18 and 32. 15 minutes.
Justin Stratton just asked, are current pairings posted anywhere? They are not. I can tell you a few of them that we heard over this, which include Tim Simon versus Schmaltz, Ross versus Phil, Greg Zinn, oh, that was the one we just watched, Jared Konsker versus Greg Shaw, Jared playing light side, Andrew Valentino was light side versus Sonny I couldn't hear, and Vic was playing light side versus Brett Iyer.
Oh crap, so I just lay it.
someone asked for like who's playing what and stuff, and I'm like, well, there's no one here that really should be looking around.
I thought you were going to see me here.
Yeah, but you're playing too.
I was thinking again, using
Oh, I'm not gonna say it.
What was already competition?
Okay. I also
Yeah,
want.
I'm good with these. But I was like, I was very much and I'm totally out of effect by that. But free, right? To have to go through
Lucky. And Drew,
guys, you good? Down where I belong. I guess I just have to. I should be able to. You, my guys kept dying. You guys have to stay. Yeah, who did I correct my turn? Yeah, just and see how it would be. That's what really not get Go ahead. Why? I have a very low. Okay. So I was going to get beat down. Okay. That's over 10 minutes. So I just run at 6. I was like, yeah. I walked out here. I made some good. I made one really bad mistake. Like I think this is definitely. Yeah. I was really coming down and killing the Emperor immediately.
Who's that?
Booker.
Oh, Booker.
Review. I was hoping to like randomly 1 second. Review over 2. Spot for the Emperor. Yeah, I was huge in it. You're actually going to get on out. I'm not as near as scary if I threw it on. So I think just multiple signature your team. Yeah. I mean, you're saying I missed play up. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it's I will target What's up? No. How's everything?
So how's the move?
It's okay. Yeah. You know what? The new job's okay. It's just a lot of used to. Target that game next. You're doing 5-4. Yeah.
I was hurt.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's going to be a better opportunity. It seems like there's something.
Booker, would you say there was anything super cool that happened that game? Worthy of the board?
No, I don't think.
I like there to be a
Black 2 ultimate. It's like a boss.
These are your Morristown, right?
That was it.
I like right in Morristown. Okay. I think it wants it downtown. Which is this all that sort of.
What? It's not. It's super nice to be talking.
So many ridiculous houses in that town. It's like a lot of nice restaurants and stuff right there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of resort buildings.
I like it really nice. I like Morristown. Nice products. I don't like my drive because it's that happens every day.
You moved somewhere?
Because I teach at Westchester, so that's in New York. Yeah. It's like a $7 or $8 bridge. What's what about I can actually.
So some plans, you can you can pay it with pre-tax plans. So there's health savings plans, and there's one and your treatment one.
Cancel.
I think there's one for
So 6 years. That was my only thing about really just as tax. So my second job. I leave my house every day at 5:45 because it's a 6 period. So from 8 a.m. class, I get in my car at 5:45. I get over to get out of the town. See, I'm like 15 miles. Same reason you can't. It's 6:05 today.
I work 55 minutes.
And I covered all the traffic. So yes, it's like. There's tax. It's a good idea. Until 8:45. I'm like 8.
3-hour drive.
For the last 15 miles. So I get out at like 8:30 or something.
You have to call them, I guess?
Yeah, I called it. I was like, oh, wait, you guys already late. They were cool though. They're like, that's just a thing.
So much for 10 years.
Yeah.
See you.
The job is good.
Now she's getting her master's.
PhD.
And you're supposed to do it. What can she do?
Write me doctor's notes. I don't know. Excuse me, I have to make late this morning. All right, so I have to ask. Yeah. So my trophy, my fifth place trophy.
Yeah.
You know, I have this like shelf that holds all my scholars' stuff. It's like it's cool, it's corny, whatever. So I open up my fifth place trophy box for it says fifth place Kashik Regions.
You spelled wrong?
No, Kashik Regions. Kashik Regions. Not world championship. Yeah. I was the only one. Everyone else is.
I won 3 tournaments. When I copied and pasted it, the best is the one that was consolidation championship. Because I just typed in the right.
So can I help you?
Yeah.
I'll play you.
Yeah, I will. It's good.
You can wait here. Or better yet, go Kashik Regions.
Thank you for that. I know it's corny, but I like the little Spanish ones.
Yeah. Well, it's cool.
Not before a sit. Oh shit! Yes! You heard sound effects to that?
That was very
You want to play online? Yeah.
What is it?
Here. Amazing.
Wait, tasty cakes.
It's just it's amazing.
You brought the tasty cake. What a cool. Here's what I have effects. What's up, Regis? Hey, where's your wife at? Where's that going? Friend? Did you freaking rip your... Is it your gal pal?
All right.
That's Brad Iyer
Yes. No, it's okay.
Oh, no, he's saying Derek beat Greg Joe.
We're trying to think if there's a way we can stop the broadcast and then restore it, and we can't figure that out. We'll get into it right now. We're having one big thing. We're gonna break it up into maybe a second. That's what he's saying. You go back to the.
I'm sorry, I'm there.
Come on, I was gonna put that up there. That's okay. Chris Kelly wins.
Yeah, you're like
There is some.
They just need to turn down our volume. Mark has the phone, so he can lower us down.
Don't worry about it. I'll just lower your microphone to try to make it a little bit better.
Your daughter's game. There you go. Can you give up the third? That's all I'm asking.
My daughter had solid. And one ball was my daughter. My daughter tried to get the ball and had teammates. How old players? She's 9. It's not really. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, just chase the ball, right?
It's a little better than that, but
a little more organized, but
I'd rather just stick a pine foot on that. Hold on. That's all problem. I think you could throw a player too.
I'll bring him forward.
16.
Seriously?
Yeah, just like in the movies. Nobody.
That's it. Come on. I don't want time. I'll give you the courtesy.
Yeah. Now we just need to see the card where you cut balls, double blue, like over in half. Yes.
This is not interactive. This is very interactive.
Yeah. Different kinds of
Very interactive. There's a couple cards.
Sport ability. 2, 2, I'm sorry, 2, 3, and 2. So if I did, then it would be I could power it. So versus your
dark side got the black and white right now. Light side
so it's pretty even.
Yeah.
You have the higher rating. It's pretty. It's tough.
That is time. Yeah, and I also
I get this next one.
Yeah, it's my turn now, right?
I would get to finish my turn.
I actually don't really rule for that because it's not on the AR.
Sure.
You know, let's see, first turn, like return it. Whose turn is it currently? So currently it's his turn. Yeah. Okay. Your turn. Yeah. So.
Be undefeated right now. Undefeated.
Two places in battle. I'm not so for battle there. And it's like it's close. Not so.
Josh McC character. Yep.
Remaker.
Oh, okay.
So much combat.
Worst thing, I mean, worst thing about I can't always win. My free on. Yes. See, what I'm sure you want 16 months. But everybody's if you want to actually
I've been only 50% of this is very so now I was just doing the second part. Two things that happened. Bygones and what happened when you said lightsabers on and I said lightsabers on. So people like, we played Rowan Chris like that. Nothing cool that. We played Brian Hunter's favorite match.
People are conceding.
When time was called, so we're like 5 games. They're still going.
And it's fine, you know, this is working great. There's so much in the slide. I was actually saying you could place this piece in the middle, but I actually like the idea of doing these, because with this middle piece you have, it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it works. It's a good fit for the camera, so.
Now, in Worlds, I sent all of it, but it looks like, I guess, they put the smaller pieces in, so it's a tighter frame.
This is awesome. I featured Max for some reason. It's great that I have no issues doing things.
That's good. Yeah, I couldn't find this piece. It's like, crap. It's like, oh, it's in my hand. It's like, oh, great. He had it in his car. He took it to Worlds and drove back.
This is fine. Like any supply store.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, you really can't.
You know, there's actually a thing.
I saw the slide.
You can, if this was turned the other way, you can run the wire through this. I don't know if we would have messed with it at times.
I got an idea. When you pull that wire out, I'm going to put it on the other side of the pole. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if I know. What are you trying to
I mean, and if he does that, he'll do it again.
Yeah, I just need to
Yes.
So who's the best match?
You had to order Aegis or Sand. It's Scott or Skill. Well, you were just on. You were just on. Take a break. Tom Hanks, if they want. That might be a good one. I like that one.
That's not bad. This one's not bad. That would be a good thing. Somebody put himself on TV already.
Then you get, alright, so one of the this is Brad playing Light. Booker, you want to do the feature match?
Yes.
Yes? You and Ross.
All right.
Funny. Brad gets Vikram. Vikram gets the vibe, and Brad gets turned down.
And now, to complete the circle, Shusky plus Booker will have to beat Brad after getting carried down.
Yep. You took the cards to the featured match, right?
Yes, I do.
We have that spreadsheet program for the schedule.
I hope you.
I mean, nobody can find it. Okay. All right. All right, guys, we're playing game 2. Our featured matchup will feature Ross against James Booker. Craig's in. Do we think? Yeah. You can play someone with Chris again. Back front. Front and back, side. Guess I'll play dark. 7. Not so cold. It's okay. Put up plans. That's exactly what we want. Shusky, Brad Iyer. Oh! So, who would you play last round?
I'm back from a 6-year hiatus. I appreciate that. Try to be
Steve Steelman, Scott Lindgren.
Hey guys, real quick, before he leaves, I just want to thank Jeffrey Johns. He has designed those artwork. Everyone's going to be getting some cards as well. So, you know he's leaving. He's going to see Bret Hart tonight. Woo! Nice. So, have fun. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yes.
You know, I'm not really a Lions fan. I just like stickers. Still trying.
Stickers are good. It's fun to watch. Jump for 5 people.
Dark side said yes. Dark side said yes. He said yes. Cards and it's like in chicken. We don't have alternate stories. Yeah, the whole point with that whole because you can just if they both play big chicken inside. Starting with same location? Yeah, both pretty top. Wait, double check the dark, right? The dark side, they both have the choice to allow their leading bird if they want to start in the dark side. Keep playing this.
Matt, are you back?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic.
I never left.
You went on a little vacation away from you.
It's a vacation to do my laundry.
I need to take one of those.
So round 2, we have James Booker playing Throne Room Mains for light side versus Ross Litauer playing Court of the Vile Gangster Scum.
Interesting.
So Ross is going to start Wipe Them Out, Power of the Hut, and Jabba's Haven. And Booker's going to start, looks like Strike Force, Insurrection Aim High, and Walkling.
I was going to use the camp today, but I saw this card as camp.
What are your thoughts on the matchup?
Well, I'm still looking over the court list. I haven't seen much court lately. It's not my preferred platform for Scum, but I think seeing that he's got Wipe Them Out, he may be looking to get someone down early, try to cause some pressure. I think early pressure on Throne Room could be troublesome if he's playing Cold Feats, which I have to check out, because if you can bait them into getting an EPP down early, you grab their resilience and maybe Cold Feet it early on, I think that kind of puts a little bit of pressure on Throne Room, and if the court has a lot of characters, they will probably outlast them in that regard. So I think it'll be interesting to see the first couple turns and see if Booker is patient with Throne Room, which is probably the right thing to do. So we'll see how that goes. I've seen Booker's Throne Room before, a couple of weeks ago at a local, but it looks like he made a few changes to it since then.
Okay. I will say I'm very interested to see how this turns out. I've been unpleasantly unsurprised by Throne Room in my testing. I thought it would have a lot more chops than it did, but I've really had trouble putting together a meaningful activation package.
I've seen a lot of different Throne Rooms. This one here, he's got 3 Recoil and Fear to try to get his sights out. I've seen a lot of them run more Twixes than they can normally pull and just hope to 3PO or Recoil into them. And this build here, it looks like he's got some docking bays. He just pulled home 1 docking bay in his first turn.
And he's going to speak for the council.
He's got 2 speaks in. He's going to, you're right, play that right now. He's got 2 pieces in as well. And he found his Throne Room. That's good news for him. He's got a Boss Nest Chambers, Home 1 War Room, the Battle Planes, Home 1 Docking Bay, Hoth Docking Bay, and Narshada. So Narshada is the only one of those that is not pullable. I guess is what was the War Room. But most Throne Rooms I've seen haven't had too much trouble finding their locations. It's usually the priority early on. And it looks like Booker also got Honor out pretty early, which is great news.
Yep, that's very useful, especially in this matchup. Cuts out a little damage.
So it's a solid first turn for Booker. He got out his 3-0, got out of Docking Bay. He's playing a Weesa now that he just drew into, probably going to get his Boss Nash Chambers. And that's about as good of a start as you can hope for a Throne Room.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Nah, I never get that good of a start.
I'm sure this is the point where Shusky will bring up the 12-card TIG that he played at the NPC, and he was dealt with 0 Twixes or Poolers his first turn and didn't draw into any either with a 12-card hand. And he was so upset about it, he actually figured out the odds of that happening were like 1% or 3%, something around there. So these decks are built to try to get out these locations early. And when you can't, then obviously you're going to have some trouble winning.
No, I played. No escape.
Ross gets out his Executor Docking Bay and now Hutta.
No escape, which doesn't give great character value, but does turn off that Honor of the Jedi.
Yep, that's a good early draw for him.
I'll lose 1 at the end of my phase.
I don't know how many. I don't need sectors.
Ross also playing Secret Plans and Grabber early on, and Booker's got his Grabber out as well. So I believe Ross just decided to lose a force for his court first turn.
You are correct. And I do believe that that force was the prepared defenses he'd just taken into hand with no escape. And we get another Twix for Booker.
And if you can see Booker's hand, that's his reserve. He's got 3PO in his reserve. So he may have the... Were you looking for me?
It's not taking.
Oh, I see a little bit of Mantilian Savrip in there.
Actually, that's a card that I've seen quite a bit of so far since the reset. I've actually seen someone play 3 of them with a lot of copies of Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight simply to forfeit from hand. Cold Feet obviously puts a damper on that, but I think Booker playing Savrip and 3 Resiliences is probably to grab the Cold Feet early on anyway.
That seems like a reasonable play. He's also started a grabber and pulled another one, a move I hardly ever see and never support. But
He's playing 2 Savrips, just so we know. So planning on one of them possibly getting canceled.
yeah, this is an interesting throne room deck. I'm
This is your strategy. Wear me down mentally.
not sure how this is going to play out. Looking forward to seeing it.
I think it's a pretty standard build for the reset environment. Nothing really jumps out as being particularly strange. He starts Strike Force because I think most of the time you have the 2 standard starting cards in Insurrection combo and Blockling, and then the third one's usually pretty flexible. So I don't fault him for starting the Strike Force in this matchup.
No, I agree with you 100%. And now comes down to EPP Luke.
Checking Ross's list, it looks like he's got 1 Cold Feet in. So, we talked in the last game about perhaps running 2 of those in most Darkside decks. We haven't seen it so far, just 1 in each.
And we get an evac control with 3 interrupts on it, with Anakin and Luke at the site. That's a reasonable start. I would say at this point, Booker has to be pleased with himself.
Yeah, hasn't lost the court yet. He's got a pretty good site there. Ross activating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just 8. He'll be hard pressed to do very much here. I don't think he can afford, though, to give Throne Room another turn to reinforce the audience chamber.
I think you are correct. It's, I think right now the generation differential is actually going to be relatively important. He's just going to fall, unless he gets some trick going, he's just going to start to fall behind.
Yeah, Ross has a Blockade Flagship Bridge in the deck with 2 pullers. He's got Wipe Them Out, but hasn't been able to utilize that yet. And that appears to be it for his activation. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
If he got all of that out right now, and nothing else came out, then he would have been able to tie Booker's activation, which... No, he would still be behind because of Blockling. Like, I think that's unfortunate. This is one of the things I actually like about the reset, is that activation becomes a much more of a thinking person's game.
Yeah, it's you have to be more aware of your resources. You have to plan out a turn or 2 ahead more, I think, than before. Throne Room still does a pretty good job of getting activation out, but other than that, I've seen a lot of Darkside decks where people don't run very much activation, which is surprising to me. And I've tended to include an extra location or 2 compared to some of the other lists that I've seen so far. But we'll see how things play out today as far as Darkside activation. Last game we watched with such a course, it wasn't an issue, but I think with the court here, it's definitely going to be an issue.
I agree. And I mean, if you think about the game we watched last, the game we cast last time, Googlin's deck didn't get a lot of benefit out of the objective other than a good starting ratio and
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously using it as a non-flipped version of Cetric Horse. He pulled out the War Room, and he had 2 other systems. I believe that was it for his locations, too. And I think that's enough for that deck, especially when you get Emperor out. So it wasn't an issue for him, but I think Ross is going to be in another situation here.
Yep. I will say, I think that Googlin could have been hurting quite a bit if Watch Your Step could have stayed flipped, because cutting that, cutting 4/3 activation off of his would just hurt.
Yeah, that's right. Ross again appears to have passed his turn. He pulled Battle Order, lost another Force to Court, and he's going to give Booker a chance to reinforce at the Audience Chamber.
For Booker, this is what I would consider almost like a trap turn, because there are so many ways where he can just waste his turn and not put himself in position to win the game. But he's going to use Tunnel Vision, Lost, to pull the card that he thinks will win the game out of his force pile.
I think most of the times that I've played against Throne Room, since the reset, this would be a turn where they would use to drain, possibly get out a 3PO if they have it, and then save quite a few force for the next turn, which means that if they come down and they are able to clear you, you'll have enough force to come down and do a counter beat. So I think we'll expect to see Booker save, I would say, at least 4 or 5 force this turn.
That seems like a very reasonable call. I would expect 3PO to be his #1 choice to pull from force pile right now. Or a 3PO puller, of course. But instead, it looks like he pulled a Lando, perhaps to reinforce, or...
And that's not so bad either. He combos really well with Anakin here. And, when we talked about reinforcing the Audience Chamber, that's pretty much the #1 card that I would have expected to see. You want to save your EPPs if you can, not spread them all out or put them all at one site. So putting Lando there is a pretty good move for him, I think. And, it pays the maintenance cost on him, and it looks like Booker's out of force after that. So really curious to see if Ross makes his move here or not.
And the bridge comes out. That will cut into the activation differential.
So just to make sure, Scum, the first alien is not affected because it's just special.
See some aliens in Ross's hand right now.
As well as the Scum and Villainy, which, Scum escalates games very quickly.
Yeah, I can expect to battle this turn, which means he could afford to have lost those few force the first couple turns. Saw a job in his hand as well, but this is still a tough situation for him, though, I think, because he has to be aware of the counter beat. Throne Room's going to activate, it looks like. 13 next turn. So if he is going to battle, he has to make sure that he has enough guys there. He'll probably lose 2 for attrition, 1 for the lightsaber. So if he really wants to do something here, he's either going to have to just do a little hit and run to try to clear a little bit and kick, or deploy quite a few characters.
Coward. Wasn't expecting that.
Coward will prevent Lando from
the
intruding.
land retrieval, sure. But so would have Secret Plans.
Yeah, I think it's always a decision to make for Darkseid against Throne Room when you're shield busted against them. Do you play the Coward or do you play the Secret Plans? I like the Coward pull actually, because Throne Room's not a deck that'll spread out to 2 sites very often. And I believe that's a Bolo out there.
Yep, you are correct. And I'm certainly not the greatest Star Wars player, but I've been preaching this a lot since the reset. I think the auto pull of the grabber is just a mistake. And this is a good matchup where, like, looking at his list, I don't see anything on this light side list that this dark side deck would necessarily want to grab.
Personally, I always like to grab Resilience. That's my #1 card against Throne Room. I think that's probably what Ross is planning on as well. You know, if you can outlast them in characters, and I think grabbing Resilience is a pretty strong way to do that, then you'll be in an advantage in the long run.
Got a hit on Anakin.
Yeah, and he's got the first strike out there as well, which means he's not going to see Resilience this turn. I would have taken advantage of that and not swung at Anakin, but instead at Luke.
And Luke is going to hit Mara.
And Bogo's going to cancel 1 Destiny here, but you're still going to be cleared.
Mara gets... Oh, nope. So we have a 3 versus a 2 for Destiny.
Well, actually, I think he canceled. Sorry about the mess there. Or did he draw that?
He had to have drawn it because he didn't have a force to play.
You're right, yeah.
Or else he tried to cheator.
No, I think you're right. So he draws a 4. That's only going to clear one of them. Probably going to be, well, depends slightly on what Booker has in his hand. If he has another Luke in his hand, I would expect Luke to go lost right here. And Booker did not pull a card from Evac, it seemed.
Not surprising. I wouldn't have with the Lando out.
Now he's got, you know, he'll have drawn 2, making him each +1. Bogo could cancel 1. Where's he going to pull 1 now? He's thinking about it. He does pull 1. So it's a 2 for Ross and a 3 for Booker.
Yes, and it appears that they did in fact do the do that multiple interrupt thing, which I think means that they both forgot about the first strike.
He's totally forgetting. He's totally forgetting about first strike. He just played Resilience right there. I think it's a huge game changer. You know, first strike, he must have just been thinking about the retrieval and the force loss, or in fact just the force loss, because we have the light side cower shield out, and I think that's a big mistake for Ross. That Resilience got through. It's a bad situation right there.
And he wasted his imbalance on a sorry about the mess that wasn't a valid play.
Yeah.
I mean, and then yeah, I mean those are the types of.
And there goes Scum.
Those are the type of plays that can really swing a game. I don't really think that at this point Ross is going to have a lot of strong plays anymore, and it's unfortunate because I don't think he was. I think if he'd remembered to enforce the rules, this would have been done.
Well, he wouldn't have Luke down likely. You know, I also got a question now to pulling Bolo. He still had 3 cards on evac control. What does that really get you? So Booker gets the Luke down, drains for 2, passes to Ross. He's going to search his deck with Malhada just to kind of see what's in there. Appears to be a lot of red, so hopefully some good Destiny draws for him. And he has not used his Audience Chamber pull yet.
Saw a Bib Fortuna and I believe an EP Mara in there. 2 cards that are relatively good to pull.
Yeah, he can pull Bib with Power of the Hut. I saw a Jabba in his hand.
Yep.
Perhaps 2 of them. There's an Phantom Mon as well. And looking at his list, he's actually playing 2 of the non-virtual EPP 4-longs, which would be really nice right here, if you could get him down with Jabba. You could cancel Luke's game text. Lando wouldn't retrieve it anyway already.
How many cards?
That would definitely be very strong.
7 cards.
So I will maybe give
Using they want shit. Give it to. Should I launch? Okay. Yeah, it's ready.
And remember, there's no scum now either, so if he does come down with Jabba, he'll have to know the scum if it's his reserve. I didn't notice if it was or not.
I didn't see another one that doesn't need anything, however.
He only plays 2, and I usually only play 2 scums as well. However, I have seen him play 3, so you wonder what's being canceled early on already by Throne Room if you're going to remember you got to fit him in. I was going to put Jabba down to the Great Pit of Carcoon. Or is he?
You can play it.
Yeah.
Oh, the battleground.
That's good.
I was going to go with Zuckerson Space instead. And this is why I kind of wonder if Court is the right choice for Scum right now. He's putting in pressure on himself with his own objective. And against a deck like Throne Room, he's really put himself in a bind because he didn't go there early on.
Yeah. It's a question. I'm not sure the strongest of moves.
And he started Wipe Them Out as well, and he hasn't occupied a site for more than 1 turn either. So, I wonder if he had a bad draw, if his original game plan was to go to the sites but didn't get the cards he needed.
Yeah, not really sure. Maybe he just built a deck that he hoped wouldn't play against Throne Room. And so that he would have a little bit easier of a setup, though. Again, I think it's easier to pick on him in this game when one point that is very fair is that there's a very big difference between enforcing that first strike and not enforcing it.
Absolutely. And I just did a quick count. He's got 20 characters in his Court deck, which I think is a little low. I think Court's big advantage is the amount of characters you have, especially since they all deploy -1, the aliens do. So I don't know if I really like that. Only playing 20. That's slightly more than the Throne Room, but when you factor in the resilience, we're really not at an advantage on the ground.
So you said Court's not your favorite Scum deck, so let me ask, what is? What would you run Scum off of?
I actually, last local I went to, I saw a CCT build with Iggy that was a Scum, and I thought it worked very well. You can have your character count up pretty high. You obviously get the audience chamber early on. You miss out on the Vader and the Tarkin and the Imperial starships, like a lot of people like to play in CCT, but personally I think it's a very good platform for Scum.
Okay.
9 cards.
Playing CCT the way it was built to be played.
Not exactly. There's still no flip, but you get the benefits of the Force Pile pool with IG-88, and plenty of aliens. I play about 25 characters in my deck, which is why I originally thought that Ross might be able to win the battle of attrition here by going to ground consistently. But with only 20 characters, I don't know if he's going to have enough to do that. He does play a lot more blue cards. He's got Zuckerson Mist Hunter, he's got Virago in, he's got Boskin Hound's Tooth. I think I saw a Dengar in Punishing 1. But Throne Room's probably just going to stay away from space this game, I think, and be content draining for 2 at the audience chamber. And until Ross comes back down to Tatooine, he's going to be losing a Force to Court every turn. Now Booker does play the Narshada if he ever wants to go to the system. It looks like he has 2 Hand-Chewy Falcons in, at least 1 Gold Weaver and Gold 1. A home 1 as well, Spiral 10 of 4, so he does have enough space where if he saves up a little bit, he can get to Narshada. He can probably hold the site in the system and not pay to drain anymore, which is more than I think Ross is going to be able to do.
So this is 4 Astro.
And Ross is finally going to go to a site. I can't tell who came down to the Great Pit. Can you see that?
Not a clue.
That's a Snuba coming down.
Ah.
Circulate. Original finally having down.
So we get some draining from Booker for 2. Now, in this position, if you were thinking about what should Booker be trying to do from this position, he's got a pretty good grasp on the audience chamber. Is that enough to win the game?
I think it's not quite yet. He still runs Qui-Gon, so Qui-Gon may be able to come down and clear the Great Pit. That would force Ross to not only pay for his drain next turn, but come back down to Tatooine. 2 characters is not enough, I think, for Ross to have over there, because it's just going to take 1 APP to clear him. And, then Ross is back to square one, trying to get a foot on Tatooine again. But I think if I'm Booker, I'm probably going to look for Narshada right now, try to find that, and then put a couple big ships in space, enough to hold the system. It's a drain 2, so at that point Ross would probably have to focus his resources more on getting his ships out, which I see he has a few in his hand.
Yeah, I could see that. I would be a big fan of seeing the Leia Rebel Princess come down, even just to the Great Pit to hold him off for a turn. Do a combination of that and then maybe move Obi over. I don't know. Maybe that might be a bad idea.
I think Booker just drained and drew some that turn, so he's probably setting up, trying to find a space. And that'll let Ross drain for 1 and 1. And Booker loses 2 from hand.
Yeah. So right now, they are doing the same amount of damage. However, I have to think that Booker is developing an advantage.
Yeah, especially if he keeps the audience chamber, because that means that you're not going to see scum. Or if you do, then he's going to have to reinforce the audience chamber with a number of characters.
Yeah.
He's going to need, I mean, it looks like at this point Booker could clear at least 4 per battle with 2 battle SNAs.
That seems about right.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Mother.
Yeah.
Someone got through the security check at the front door.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna shift things up before the next game. We tried to do it before this one and it didn't quite work. And Cold Feet gets grabbed as it should.
And Ross is using it to get out. There is no try, and that tells me he may not be planning on trying to clear the audience chamber. Otherwise, he'd probably want to save it to cancel the resilience. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like that.
I prefer it on a shield than on as anti-resilience tech. I'm not as big a fan of his shield pulls, but
I mean, I could see the benefit of a shield as well, but this is why we talked about having 2 Cold Feets in, because it's going to get grabbed against a deck playing 3 resiliences. And now he probably is going to wish that he had it later on as well. And if he ran 2 of them, then he could have.
I'm not going to disagree that multiple is good, but I don't know. On the other hand, one of the ways that he has to get back into this game, assuming he's running the card, and I haven't looked to see, is of course an Ellis, or not an Ellis, a Neighboring beat.
Well, Booker's starting Insurrection, so that's out of the question.
Oh, fudge. Insurrection's a good card. Forgetting that.
Well, he's playing it on himself, so... And it looks like Ross has Jabba and Scum back down.
With an Efont Mon to back up the Jabba, that will do it. We've seen a ceasefire in hand. That'll do a good job of letting him survive a turn.
Yeah, and
battle, retrieve 3.
I'm trying to figure out what you want to use. I'm sorry.
yeah, and Booker already used his sorry about the mess earlier.
Invalidly so, but yes, you did.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. Was it with any alien or with any?
And he chooses not to cease fire. Efont Mon does get hit.
Which won't make a difference.
Nope.
This is about as much as Ross can do right now. He's just trying to retrieve some for battling. He's going to have to move his 2 other guys over there to reinforce Jabba after this, but he's only going to kill 1 of the guys from the light side.
Yeah, but it's going to be he's going to lose 1 guy. Light side's going to lose 1 guy, and there was a 4/4 swing for initiating battle.
Right. But then you got to look next turn. He's going to have Jabba, Snuva, and the 1 other character. And I expect to see another resilience from Booker here. He has some force save this time anyway. So he's going to forfeit his Luke, it appears.
Yep.
And he might have another one in his hand. He's got 3 of them in the deck.
And then, as we expected, at least 1 of the guys comes over. He is out of force, it looks like. He didn't have enough force to move the non-Snuva card over. We have seen that he has a projective telepathy in hand, so he could try to catch. I mean, he could get lucky and catch catch Booker. Been watching too much Battlestar. Catch Booker without the correct amount of force needed to initiate battle here, though. We shall see.
I believe I saw a Leia Rebel Princess in hand for Booker.
And a Tantive, and a Home One, and a Honshu in the Falcon.
Yeah, he may not have enough force to go to space yet. If he does, then Ross is going to be losing his Zuckuss.
Yes.
But I think possibly the better play here would be Leia come down to just cancel Scum. Well, he's going to bring the Henshuli Falcon out to space. And Tana 4 along with it, so he can actually draw a battle destiny greater than 0 against Zuckuss. And got an update from the room. Steve Skilton beating Scott Advocate in Scott's first game since he had the bye round 1. And Booker's going to battle in space.
Get projected. We'll see a
And
sense.
this is really big here. So he's got the sense. He's going to have to lose the sense +2 for it. Now that's, the telepathy would have been huge considering we've got the Henshuli Falcon out with a 3 maintenance cost, Lando out with a 1.
Yep. Oh, and we see some nice destinies.
6 and a 5 for Booker, and a 3 for Ross. Let's see if he has the Gick. He's probably going to need it here.
Yeah.
25 versus a 7. That's 13 overflow unless he's got the Gick.
I'm interested to see who. Okay, Tantive gets forfeited.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Ross is peeling cards now.
Yes.
That's quite a bit of overflow.
And I think that's effectively going to be the game, if not actually the game.
I think so. Ross was never able to get more than 2 guys at a site.
Mm-hmm. And I think this speaks to the weakness of the play that was putting Zuckuss in space. Zuckuss in space can be very good, especially if he creates a blowout when you put him out there. But especially against a deck like Throne Remains, putting him out there and just waiting for the opponent to do something about it gives them the time to find a way to blow him out. Like, you need to be able to reinforce, which means you need to be safe on the ground before doing that. I feel like Ross mistempoed this game.
We saw some other starships in his hand, too. He could have come down, chose not to.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Ross has demonstrated to us, Zuckuss in Mist Hunter has very low power, it has very low forfeit. It has one very, very potent trick, but you need to get that trick working.
Now, Booker's got a sight in the system now. He still has the Leia in his hand, so unless Ross happens to come down with the droid to the audience chamber, he can still cancel Scum next turn. And that would be the last copy of Scum in Ross's deck.
Yep.
You're gonna document it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the court deck, it really just runs into the problem of interaction and aim high here. Like, court wants to put everyone at one side and then possibly Ellis for the win. Can't do that. Court wants to retrieve constantly throughout the game. Like, that, the aim high. I mean, granted, these are things that other cards can stop as well, but to start against Throne Room with this court deck is a really hard draw. I am not sure that I think this is a winnable matchup pretty much under any circumstances.
So Ross is going to battle, it appears, at the Great Pit of Carcoon. I'm not sure who he has there. But he's only got one card in reserve deck. And there's the Ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
Losing 2, I think, from used.
Yes.
Again, just going for the 4/4 swing. Looks like
Wow.
going to draw a 0 and a, was it a 1?
That was a 3. It was a 0 and a 3 PO.
Obi-Wan dies, and the character at that site was Prince Zizor.
Yes. Who is a very good character. In fact, I'll go so far as to say he's an exceptional character.
Plays 2 of them in the deck, too. And Ross is going to draw some more now. We can see his life force this time, so empty reserve deck, drawn up. He looks to have probably less than 15 or so in there.
That would be my guess.
And this is the point where Booker will drain for 1 and 1, and I expect to see Leia come down and just cancel Scum. Probably move away after that, too.
Yep. I think the biggest question about this turn is an EPP going to come down as well to really lock down a site?
I think if he's able to get rid of Scum and move away, that's probably enough for him.
Yeah, you're right, and he's got 4 in maintenance costs, so...
Yeah. There's 4 for Leia. 4 to cancel Scum.
And then Leia's going to move away.
Yep.
And that's going to be Booker's turn. After paying an epic 4 for maintenance costs.
Some other updates from the room. Some of the other decks we see going around. 2 EVOs. Walker's Cloud City Mains, Senate for Lightside, IG-88, QMC, Combat Huntdown, and a TTO. Big news out of last night with the team tournament. I believe Shusky was able to blow up the Death Star 2.
Yeah, I read about that. That's fun for him.
Apparently 3 EVOs.
Yes, I was just updating my math on this, and so far I have seen 2 combats, 3 Watcher Steps, 3 Throne Rooms, and 3 EVOs for Lightside, as well as a smattering of other decks. Nothing I would find especially surprising there.
I tried EBO a bit in playtesting, and I found that it's a little bit too slow for my liking, especially with Watto being pretty prevalent in my area. It's just not enough to get moving early on, and then once you do get flipped, quote unquote, then you don't have the drain canceling advantage like you have with Hidden Base. You know, you can drain for 3, but it's very often going to be capped with resist. I haven't liked EBO, but it's a pretty popular. I'm interested to see how it's going to do today.
Well, basically disagree. I find EVO to be incredibly strong right now. It's a little higher variance because getting exactly one of the cards you can pull is relatively critical. And to answer a question we had from chat, I do believe that the walkers is going to be Hoth CRV. And we have had confirmation.
And so the Hoth CRV and the EBO start both started Hoth system, which means the dark side player would deploy their system first, and they have the option of letting it be converted, which I assume would happen, and that's probably not a good start for walkers if their system's converted.
I imagine, yeah, wow. The docking bay, they can't get to their docking bay basically. So they're down to 2 locations, one of which isn't a battleground, plus the system. That's a hard draw.
My fellow Jens Szewski gets his first win of the day over Brad. Meanwhile, over here, Court's able to come down, and looks like clear Lando from the site. Must have a droid there. I'm not exactly sure who they have.
Get a nice Destiny 5 there for Ross, as IG-88 does clear Leia.
Yeah, I guess he captured Lando and must now. Now, remind me here, Nathan, whose option is it for the capturing? Is it Ross's option to put him in use pile, or is it Booker's?
It depends. It's first the dark side's option, then the light side's option.
So dark side, I guess, chose to put Lando in used, which is the right play there. Otherwise,
yes,
IG would die and Lando would come right back.
Yeah.
And Jake Nelson confirms it's the dark side option. Jake.
Yeah. So for clarity, dark side has the option of having a character capture him, or imprisoning, or sending it to used. Since the character is captured once he is released, the light side has the choice of used pile or rallying to the site.
So now Booker's got a fresh start. No characters at sites anymore. He's going to drain for 1 at the system.
Did have several EPPs in hand though, and I expect to see them come down.
So in the Hoth EBO matchup, we did see that the dark side player let him converted, but thinks maybe he shouldn't have done that. It's an interesting matchup. I'm not familiar with CRV lately. I've heard it's kind of struggled for a couple of the guys here in Pittsburgh.
Sorry, for which matchup?
The Hoth CRV, just in general.
No, I agree. I have been relatively unimpressed. And Darkside has several very, very good options right now.
I agree.
I don't think that's one of them. So.
EPP Luke comes down now, and they'll get to retrieve with first strike this time.
And Luke will only kill Snuva because, because that's the way it went.
Must have missed on the swing.
I couldn't see from the reflection, but that has to be what that means, though Snuva doesn't have very good defense, so. And he will choose to keep Luke there, losing the home one from hand.
Snuva has a 4 armor, so it is feasible to have missed him. And one card in reserve deck for Ross is the It's Worse combo. Looks like Jabba's going to be hitting this battle.
Guys.
10 minutes left in the round, and I think this is probably how we can expect this game, the rest of this game to go, with deploy a guy, battle a guy, and Ross concedes right there, as Booker has complete control.
And Ross points to the blowout in space, which did in fact end the game.
Never found his Gick, and he plays one masterful move combo, it seems. Solid game played by Booker right there, I thought. You know, he went down to the audience chamber early. He was able to cancel Scum twice in the game. And when that happens to you as a Scum player, and you get blown out in space like he did, that's it's not an easy match to win then.
Nope. You are correct. So we are going to take a brief break from this broadcast, though y'all might not know this, and because we're going to recalibrate a couple of things here, and we will be back streaming before the next game. We'll see you then.
Yeah, hope it goes well.
This is how this quarter, right?
Yeah. Expose your mouth. Oh no.
That was all right. Things went kind of poorly.
First serves, I didn't start on her, but like this was the first time. Second turn was just.
There's only two right now. Booker. And it was Hot CRV versus EBO and CRV. So Skilton and Booker are both undefeated.
And they have a PC, so therefore. I'm going to use the seldom ever used. What am I going to say if I three, workforce, take bigger, I will use the seldom first. Yeah, I probably never had to use it before. Good call. That is the most Star Wars chat room comment of all time. Let's make Google ID. Is it fighting us or something?
No, I didn't. Oh, what he wants to know how to log in?
What's your Google ID for this that this thing's on?
It's have a login to the Google. No, it's El Mundo. So
It's El Mundo.
no. It's advocate at starwarsctv.org. That's pretty sweet. And then train. I think that's what it is.
Write it up. Yeah, right. I don't know. It's a spammer that's not.
I don't get broken. Oh, you didn't fill it out? Oh, I did.
Yes.
You get 2 points. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't finish because. Yeah, that's good. Sorry.
Very good.
The other thing, we have a now we're into that. Snack food.
You don't have 2 jobs like 3 hours. Oh, they should do that.
Well, then take it off.
So I had a good time getting my
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was like, I don't know what to record. Paper thing or they got
Scott, what was ridiculous? David Martin from London is still home.
Did they?
He posted and said he has to wait for it, like that's confirming where you're now.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Werewolf
Yeah.
still happening.
Well, what happened is by accident I posted the wrong one. It wasn't my fault.
I barely even know what that means.
I posted the wrong version.
So obviously, bad guys jumped on you.
So then I obviously got broken out.
That thing's operational.
Oh well.
Yeah, well, I remember reading along with the first, like one of the first 3 that they did, and it was like highly entertaining. And I was like, I'm wasting way too much time on this. And I wasn't even playing. I don't think. I was just reading.
Yeah, you're down on the river, and I randomly turned on. And I protected somebody who's protecting me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just thinking like what happened all at once. Doing like figure out what happened to the game was over. Never done it. Well, it seems fun. Oh yeah.
Close your eyes. This is the same thing.
Yeah, it worked out. That people make mistakes. I think it's good. Just pure technology. Talk everything out. Sometimes you get a little. So there are times when you can get a little boring, but you just want to get. You want to move on to the next thing.
You know, how's the
Yeah, he says, well, it's good. Yeah. We did the kid too, so a little bit younger. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh!
That's sexy.
No, yeah,
That's basketball stuff.
It's from Richie Zero.
So you learn the opposite. He has very little back. He's got it, and it's in his hand. It's about you go the opposite thing. Everyone saw me put Destiny on the top of my deck.
Dark Sandy. My lord is not leaving. My lord, I like him. Thank you. So who's undefeated now?
Booker, Skilton, Jared, and Mike Nicholas. So far. Not everybody. You can erase me. I lost.
So did she win?
Still playing?
Who won, guys?
You guys call time yet? Yeah.
Time, guys. Let me down. People with the last name that starts letter M. There's Kelly.
So Richie won?
Yeah.
I just like forgot. I was like, all serious.